Thanks for tuning in to Men for the Win, a podcast hosted by David Kufis and Dan Thompson, with special guest appearances from Andrew Hoges Hoganson, three avid fans who appreciate well-played baseball, especially when it's done by the Minnesota Twins. Men for the Win is sponsored by the Grand Group with Edina Realty. Are you looking to purchase a new home in the Twin Cities area? Or perhaps you're trying to sell your current home? The Grand Group with Edina Realty will meet all of your housing needs. Contact the Grand Group by emailing thegran, G-R-A-N, group at edinarealty.com or call them by phone at 612-817-8751. Men for the Win is part of the Pulltab Sports Network, covering sports, culture, and entertainment across the Midwest. Check them out at pulltabsports.com and give them a follow on all your social media platforms at Pulltab Sports.
On this episode, Dan and David recap the Twins' three-game series against the San Diego Padres. Thanks for listening. Enjoy. Thanks for tuning in to Men for the Win. I am Dan Thompson. With me today is David Kufis. I never get to do this part, and I really wanted to, and I thought David's going to be super frustrated about how this series went, and so I will kind of like soften the landing a little bit for him by giving him a moment to kind of, console himself, compose himself. Was that enough time for you, David? Would you say you're ready now?
I'm calm. Okay. Dan. There wasn't a lot of expectations going into this series. I fully expected them.
Attempt to be a gentleman.
Just getting that out there right away.
I expected them to get swept. Okay, I didn't.
Swept?
It wasn't surprising. Yeah, I thought it would be great. Yeah, I thought it'd be great if they could take one.
Okay.
Honestly, that's what I really wanted them to do. They couldn't do that. That's fine. They should have taken Game 2. We're going to talk about that at length here, Dan. But I'm frustrated for all sorts of reasons. Game 2 was so frustrating. I can't wait to talk about that a little bit later. But Dan, sometimes I say things, and the internet doesn't wholeheartedly agree with my take on things.
Shocking.
Now, I know. Okay, so folks, a couple of episodes ago, I had recapped my visit to the Iowa State Fair, and there was a particular interaction I had with a man who claimed to be a Dodgers fan, but grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, cheering for the Guardians. He changed teams. I don't allow that. That doesn't seem to be something that is reasonable in my estimation. Now, I want to go through a few of the responses I've heard to this. And Dan, I got to be honest, from all of the people who I know in my life who listen to the show, everybody came with scenario X and scenario Y about why it's okay to change teams when such and such happens, or you've lived in such a place for such and such a time. Okay, let's start with a few of these objections. I just want to take them one by one before we get to this terrible baseball series that we don't really want to talk about anyway. First of all, here's this one. It's a game. Cheer for who you like and who you want to cheer for. Terrible. Absolutely. This makes no sense because it totally robs sports of any passion that you have for a team. Can you imagine, Dan? You can say that in America and people will just be like, whatever, everybody's got their own opinion. That would get you killed in Europe. If you said you can just cheer for whatever football team you want to cheer for, are you kidding? You're telling me that some Arsenal fan is like, sure, you can just cheer for Chelsea. That's fine. Also, can I get a little love for using two teams out of the...
Well, that was brilliant.
Thank you.
Yeah, and they're not even Ted Lasso's team, right? Or any other fictional team, or Wreck It Like Wreckham, or whatever they are.
Yeah.
That's Bennett Like Beckham.
Welcome to Rex. You just combined Wreck-It Ralph with Welcome to Rex.
It was something. I can't remember. But that was good. I agree with you wholeheartedly there, right? Like once a fan, always a fan. Like you're born there, you have to root for them, right? Or something. Yeah, your parents were, whatever.
So there was a decent number of people who did agree with me. So I appreciate those who did second and amen and heartily agree with my claim. So obviously the thread is only fake fans are willing to change which team that they decide to cheer for. Totally understandable. I agree with that take. If you change teams, you truly weren't a fan to begin with of the team you were claiming to be a fan of. But then you have these people, Dan, who, again, they do these scenarios where they're like, well, here's what happened. I grew up in Detroit. I was a diehard fan for 25 years, and then I moved to San Diego, and I've lived here for 40, so now I'm a Padres fan. But I still watch Detroit and root for them. Again, you can't do this, because here's the question. If the Padres and the Tigers play in the World Series, who are you cheering for? You can't say that you cheer for both. In that moment, you have to make a decision. Again, you can have a secondary team. I don't have a problem with you saying you have a secondary team that you follow because regionally it makes sense for you. But in this day and age when you can watch every game from every team anywhere, I don't care the logistics here. My brother tried to this convoluted scenario where he's like, well, my brother, let's say he moved out to California and then he started doing a podcast about the Dodgers, and then I moved out there and I decided I'm just going to be a Dodgers fan too. No, I don't care about all the extracurricular things that you're saying. I hate it, Dan. There's no reason to be able to change teams because I think, again, it robs you of the passion that you should have as a sports fan for your team.
I just think a lot of people don't have that passion, though. Like, they're very
Then why
casual
watch,
fans.
Dan?
Why watch? You watch because it's on. You watch because you lack hobbies. I don't know. I mean, like, you watch for a lot of people don't watch it the way you and I watch it, with that calm, cool yet invested feeling that we have in it.
Calm,
you know.
cool. Yeah.
Well, I think we put sports in their right place and we root heartily. When
after I
given
tell
the
a story about Game 2 later, you're going to have to tell me
All
if
right,
I
well,
put Game 2 in the right.
We will do that.
Okay, last objection here before we jump into this here. So I saw two different like tweets, or I forget if they're on the YouTube videos or whatever, but somebody said like, this is definitely the mindset of somebody who hasn't played baseball above a certain level.
Oh,
and it's like,
come on.
This is a terrible take because what you're basically saying is that baseball should just be watched for the pure enjoyment of the sport and you shouldn't be cheering for teams. There's an exception here, obviously, a glaring one, which is if a guy plays for a team and it's not the team he cheered for growing up, of course he's going to be cheering for the team he's on. There's no, you're not saying like, oh my goodness, well, I'm really upset because Matt Wallner, when he gets traded to the Padres and he becomes a Padres fan now that Matt Wallner was never a true Twins fan. Totally different when you're in the world itself and you're playing for certain teams. Like, that shouldn't even need to be explained.
By the Padres,
yes.
or whatever. That's a little bit different, I would say, in that situation.
And folks, honestly, at me. I have yet to hear a good argument. I have yet to hear a good argument for why it's okay to ever switch teams that you cheer for, short of the team that you cheered for no longer existing anymore.
Well,
but other than that,
you can switch, but then you have to all-out switch. That's fine. You can't go back, though. You can't have it both ways.
I'm not going with
you. Wouldn't even switch at all.
No, I don't think there's any reason why you should be able to switch. No, unless your team gets, again, wiped off the face of the earth somehow. No way am I going to say that it's okay to switch teams that you cheer for, because your passion level, I don't think, will ever be the same. If you're willing to switch arbitrarily, then there was no real reason for you cheering for a certain team to begin with. And anytime that you have a decision to make that's arbitrary, you're never going to be as invested as opposed to when you're making a decision with key factors involved.
Thinking of, the Jimmy Fallon movie, Fever Pitch.
Fever Pitch, of course. Yeah.
Great film. Yeah, I can't imagine him ever switching to somebody else. But what if it was just like a casual Red Sox fan that moves to Kansas City and becomes a Royals fan? Could you not just – I think you could be a Royals fan there, but you would have to no longer be a Red Sox fan. You have to give that up. I think that's okay.
I don't know. I don't buy this, Dan. I don't, because
it's like citizenship, right? Like, you can move to another country, and then some countries just make you give up your previous citizenship. It's not dual citizenship. There's no dual citizenship in sports. I will give you that. But I think you can trade your citizenship. I think that's okay. Dan and I are tackling the issue of immigration later on. This is going to be great. But all right, okay.
What are we doing? Let's go into the Padres series here. Talk about this terrible series of baseball, Dan.
Series recap.
I hadn't thought much about Ty France. David, had you thought much about Ty France? I don't
Do you have the sounder? There it is.
I held on to it, because I hold on to all things. I'm a hoarder when it comes to the Sounders. He's having his best year since 2021. He's betting, at least going into this game, 293 with an OPS of 875. That would fit awfully nice at first base on this team. I don't know where Royce would play. That's another question. But anyway, he, in the bottom of the first, hits a 2-run home run, puts the Twins behind early yet again. Top of the fourth, the Twins do equalize, though, when Cody Clemens, your guy here in this series, hits a 2-run triple. But after that, nothing, David. Bottom of the fifth, this is when the Padres do their damage with kind of an old-fashioned rally that we'll come back to, but 4 singles, a walk, and a sac fly, all off of Mr. Prelip. And then Randy Vasquez shuts down the Twins across 7 innings, 2 hits, 2 earned runs, no walks, 3 strikeouts, just 87 pitches. Twins just weren't making him work. The Padres do at least use their big arms of Bradley Rodriguez and Mason Miller. And so at this point I thought, well, maybe there's a little bit of hope going forward here. And this game is attended officially, David, by 44,293 fans. The Padres average 41,000 a game. It's the second most in the majors. That's something I'm going to come back to a little bit later.
Okay, well, Dan, tell me the game 2 got better. It did get better for a little bit, right?
No, game 2 didn't get better.
For a minute.
Excuse
for
me.
like
That's
a minute, it got better, Dan.
That was the Twins coughing up the lead there. So one of the more difficult losses of the season, I would say. It looks good early, right? There's the leadoff home run by Luke Keeschall, the newly shorn Luke Keeschall, who plant that
We'll
little
talk about it,
seed.
Dan. We'll talk about it.
Brooks Lee hits one. Kalen Culpepper's in on it. But they're all solo home runs, and they're all in the first 2 innings. And we've seen the Twins do this, right, where they kind of almost feel content. Now, they do add a couple runs in the 3rd inning on a Clemens single, and then in the 4th on a Keeschall single. And Dean Kramer, man, has he been just fine. 5 1/3, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. But then huge amounts of trouble in the bottom of the 7th for Andrew Morris. And this is really where it falls apart. Fermin reaches on the catcher's interference. Then Tatis singles. Jake Cronenworth doubles both of them in, so it's 5-4, Cronenworth on second, and then a play we'll talk about a little bit later, but Machado grounds to short, and Culpepper aggressively tries to get Cronenworth at third, but the ball is not caught by Brooks Lee, and the ball gets past him. Cronenworth scores, it's 5-5, and then, of course, Mr. France
After all, miss, this is France.
has another RBI hit. This one scores Machado, it's 6-5. Bottom of the 8th, Tatis singles in Luis Campusano to score another run for the Padres off of Nance, and the Twins were doing nothing offensively during this. 11 players, I should say the final 11 Twins to come to bat, all recorded out. Twins only struck out 3 times, but they went 2 for 8 with runners in scoring position. Brooks Lee, kind of the bright spot we will talk about, 3 for 4, 2 runs, 1 RBI, but that error. And then this is an interesting stat that Provis mentioned in Game 3. San Diego has won 7 times this year when trailing by 4 runs or more. That's the most in the majors there. And I think the fans, it probably has something to do with that.
Yeah, almost certainly there is some momentum to be gained from that many people in the building cheering for you. The stats about, who's ahead after a certain number of innings and how often they win, I think they can be a bit blown out of proportion because it's like, well, this team, when they hold a 10-run lead heading into the 9th inning, they've won 99 out of 100.
Right. It's an ESPN stat in some capacity,
yes.
right? Yeah.
And we'll come back to that here a little bit later in the segments, actually. But let's go through Game 3 here, Dan.
Oof.
Padres. Oh my goodness, this one was so bad, Dan. So it's a beautiful day in Minnesota. I'm out in a buddy's backyard. I'm watching the game on my phone because we're watching the kids out, playing on the playground and whatnot. But anyway, I'm having a nice time. It's a beautiful day, nice breeze. I just wish the Twins would have made it a better day, Dan. So Bailey Ober's on the mound, hoping to slow down the offense of the Padres, which the Twins have failed to do. They get through 5 innings relatively unscathed, with only 1 earned run allowed on a solo homer by Tatis in the 3rd. Bailey works around 3 walks. It's so annoying when he issues these walks because it's like, dude, you could go deeper into these games if you stop burning these pitches on these walks.
Where did all these unsupervised children come from?
When the balls are not close, Dan, it's like ball 4 is never like, oh, the guy's going to check at it. It's like, okay, well, Jeffers had to dive, to his right just to stop the ball from going to the backstop. But super annoying. Ober did have 3 Ks. Not that terrible facing this lineup, only giving up the 1 earned run. I just wish he could have stayed in the game a little bit longer. Twins do tie it in the top of the 5th on a Brooks Lee solo homer. So it's 1-1 game headed into the 6th. And sadly, this looked like the Twins bullpen from the beginning of the season. That's how it felt, Dan. So Funderburk enters, and he can't find the strike zone. So Jackson Merrill reaches on a Kalen Culpepper error. His only recorded error on the series, Dan. We'll talk about that later. And thankfully, though, he does get picked off trying to steal second. The play shouldn't have been close. They actually called him safe, and then it had to be reviewed. Clemens got the ball with plenty of time, but, I don't know. Merrill did this whole weird swim slide thing, and he got around and he tagged the bag, and I thought he was out anyway. But anyway, thankfully they overturned it. They did say that he got picked off trying to take second base. But then Funderburk issues walks to Campusano, however you said it there, Dan.
I've heard it both ways.
And Austin Hayes. So Jeff Hoffman enters. He walks Xander Bogaerts to load the bases. Then Renigfo.
I've heard it both ways.
No idea, Dan.
Beat you to it. Renhefo, I believe is how that is.
Is that how you? I couldn't remember.
Xander Bogaerts too. Since we're on that.
What did I say?
Bogart something. It was different.
No, I said Bogaerts. I said Bogaerts. Dan.
All right. Oh,
I've
hold
heard
on.
it both ways.
Let's not fight about it now. Let's just we'll table it.
You're gonna hear it on the edit, and you're gonna feel silly, Dan. But anyway, so he hits a 2-run RBI double. Tatis then follows him with a 2-run RBI single. Padres are up 5-1. Things don't get any better for the Twins as Travis Adams struggles in the 7th, allowing a solo homer, a walk, and an RBI double. Rogers gives up a solo homer to Tatis, his second of the game, and thankfully that ends the scoring for the Padres. But they still win this one 8-1, Dan. And I just expected more from our Twins. I understand that the Padres are a high-scoring offense, and it's a big building to come into that's basically got a playoff atmosphere all the time. But my goodness, Dan, put up at least a little bit of a fight.
If you're struggling, David, to put up a bit of a fight, too, in your life, maybe you don't have the energy. You might just be dehydrated, and a lot of people are, right? It's not a good feeling. It can leave you feeling irritable, give you brain fog, feeling low energy, especially in the summer heat. Well, we've discovered a new hydration hero, and their name is Drip Drop. Drip Drop was invented more than a decade ago, and it's been helped with life-saving humanitarian missions across the globe. Drip Drop was created for fast hydration where IVs simply weren't possible. More than 90% of all professional sports teams across all the major sports use Drip Drop, including the Vikings, Wild Wolves, and Twins. It's also used by the U.S. military, including Army Rangers and Navy SEALs. And there's a reason that the best choose Drip Drop. It's a superior product. Simply put, Drip Drop works faster and tastes better. So head to Amazon or dripdrop.com and order some Drip Drop. Mix it with water and experience for yourself the fastest way to hydrate.
Catch 'em all, Kirby Puckett! Puckett's Picks winner.
Give yourself the clap.
Oh,
David.
Dan.
Well, I shouldn't say the clap. Give yourself a clap. David, I think that's how the phrase.
Finally, Dan. I get a victory here. I took Cody Clemens. He had 6 points, which isn't all that great, but it was enough to come away with a victory, Dan, because the listeners took Bell, who had been on an absolute tear, but he scores -3. Hoges took Jeffers, who had 2, and you took Lewis, who, my goodness, Royce Lewis is not a viable option right now, Dan. He had 0, and I realized I'm still a long way off.
No strikeouts amongst those 10 at-bats.
I'm a long way off here, Dan, from the lead, but there's some season left to play, and if I go on a little run here, Dan, it could happen. Why don't you give us the season standings?
Yeah, so you didn't get the bonus point because Luke Keyshaw had 7, just one over there. But yes, the listeners lead 15.5. Hoges has 14. I have 14. You have 9. We've got some series left here. There is a chance. We'll see.
I don't have to run the table, but it's pretty dang
got to be
close.
The problem for you strategically is that there's nobody else who's like way far behind. Like if you lose, that means that somebody else is in the running and very close, right? So that is kind of the trick here.
We call that the meta of the game, actually, Dan. For those board gamers out there, that's the meta of it. So
the game within the game. Is that
okay?
Let's keep going here.
Beast versus Bench.
Beast versus Bench.
Is losing fun? Is losing fun?
I got to go Clemens, Dan. Obviously, he got me the victory. I did think about going Luke Keyshaw, but we're going to talk about him a little bit later here and his new look. I don't know that I love it, Dan, but we'll talk about it. Clemens looks good no matter where he's playing in the field. Second base, he seems to really found a home there, and I think that he's going to be there for the extended future. He has to move to the outfield sometimes when they bring in Kreidler. But the way this series went, Dan, I think when they're going to bring in Kreidler, he's going to be playing shortstop, and Culpepper's going to be taking a spot on the bench here for a little bit.
I went with Brooks Lee here, who they gave some stats early on. He's a California kid, as we know. Larry, thanks for listening. He finally homered in the state of California, and he'd had a terrible run. It was like I don't think he'd homered in any of the previous series, and he hadn't been very good. He does have that error. We will come back to that. But still, for doing what he needed to do offensively, I'm giving it to Brooks Lee.
Yeah, I think totally worthy of the title, Dan. I'm going to give it to Culpepper. 2 for 10. He did have a home run, and he's only credited with 1 error in the series. Honestly, he could have been credited with 3, and I don't think anybody would have batted an eye here. He did not look good at shortstop. I kind of thought originally it was just this, kind of the pressure of being up at the majors for the first time. I haven't done a deep dive on his minor league stats if he's playing the position well, but now it's starting to make a little bit of sense here why the Twins were nervous to bring him up if they knew that this could be a problem. And now it's okay, well, maybe Merrick Houston will make an appearance for the Twins next season, who's got a little bit better hands, it looks like, than Culpepper.
Yeah, I want to save a lot of my Culpepper thoughts for later. I'm going to go actually finish the infield here. I'm going to bench Royce Lewis. Not that he had huge mistakes or anything like that. He just wasn't. He didn't add any value here. in this series. 0 for 10. He's been pretty good in California. So I have the 2 California guys as my picks here for the Beast and Bench.
You know, short of any sort of copyright, we should have had like a California Girls Beach Boys sort of sounder going here, Dan. It would have been.
Could be, or they.
I don't think we're going to get copyright struck for that, Dan. So that's
no, I don't think so. I think we're safe. Let's go on here to talk about Derek.
You ever seen Buck with his pants down? No.
Derek's debrief.
Game 1, bottom of the 5th. This is when the wheels fell off in that game. And I get it's the 5th, and you want your starter to finish, I suppose. But it was just nickeled and dimed. It was 4 singles and a walk and a sac fly. And I thought for sure at some point there, Derek was going to come and pull Prelip. You've got your full complement of the bullpen here. I would think, you're in this game. I don't know why maybe you don't pull him a little bit earlier when maybe it's 3-2. At that point you say, all right, we got to pull the plug here and try to win this baseball game. But he just kind of seemed more intent on getting even a whole other inning out of Connor Prelip here. But then it was 6-2, and it just wasn't going to work out for Will, I thought.
I understand. Yes. It is rough though, Dan, if you're pulling him after 4 innings, 4 1/3 or whatever he got through. And if you know that you're hopefully going to have a chance in the Kramer start and maybe a chance in the Ober start,
but that's
do you
the
really
thing.
want to burn your entire bullpen?
It was very Rocco-ish because it really felt like he was managing to win the next game, which would have totally worked out well if Game 2 had gone as it ought to have. Like it was setting up to do what I think Rocco would have wanted to happen here.
We just love Rocco, Dan.
Rocco's Rewind.
There we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is what I want to say here. Derek, game two.
It's not your fault. All right? It's not your fault.
It's not. It's not your fault. I know that Dan was going to be mean about game 1. I thought he was actually pretty tame.
I was
thought
critical.
He was gonna, people were not thrilled with him on Twitter. They were coming after Derek pretty aggressively. But I think game 2, I want to applaud you because losing game 2 was terrible. However, I think you made the right choices here. You took out Kramer when you needed to. You brought in Mittner, which made a ton of sense. And then Morris has kind of been your guy. So you're thinking, okay, I can go Morris. And then I still got Gomez coming up too. And it's like, okay, so how can I sort of balance these? It's just really frustrating that, and honestly, in defense of Morris, what a frustrating outing here. You get the catcher interference, and you got Culpepper with the mistakes here. Very, very frustrating time. I know we're going to talk about that here, but maybe that's actually a good lead-in, Dan. Let's just go ahead and push forward into Minnesota Moment.
Minnesota Moment.
So, okay, game 2, top 1. Luke Keyshaw leads off with a home run. And Dan, I got to be honest, I was already taking notes here, folks. If you haven't noticed, Luke Keyshaw, who has one of our favorite sounders, Dan.
I have magic hair that glows when I sing.
He cut his hair. He cut really, really cut his hair. And I was shocked because that's like kind of seems like a look that you don't just change. You know what I mean? Like that's like probably
player,
the haircut he's
right?
had.
I mean, we have another one for that, don't we? Here, give me 1 second.
I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious.
No baseball player should cut his hair mid-season.
No.
Especially when you're on a run.
Yes.
So I wish if somebody knows the backstory, maybe we missed it. Maybe somebody asked and nobody. I mean, there must be an answer to this because you don't do that. He's not getting married till like November, right? With like 3 of his teammates at like a triple wedding. So that was weird. Weird timing.
And it was so funny because we just had a big video last episode about how Luke Keyshaw looks like an action figure. So first, a quick question, Dan. Do you think with the haircut, does he still look like an action figure or does he look less action figure-y now?
No, but I think they got to re-release the action figure, right? You need like the second edition here, right, with the short hair. Like you got to have a collector's
That's what this is. It's a money grab for the Twins for a product that doesn't exist yet.
Right.
But here's the thing though. Luke Keyshaw with his haircut looks absolutely generic white guy. Mm-hmm. Like if you go to MLB The Show right now and you go to build your own player and they make that screen where you can design your player and what he looks like, Luke is option 4 for generic guy on the base pass. Like he doesn't look anything like someone who's going to stand out. It's just I don't like the haircut. Luke, I'm sorry. I've owned the same 8 shirts for the past 10 years, Luke. So I've had the same haircut since 8th grade. I am not a guy who you should look to for fashion advice. But Dan, I know when I like something and I know when I don't. And I hate that he cut this hair, Dan.
maybe it's his fiance, right? It was her, like she said, because it's Players Weekend too. And so maybe this was like the turning point for him. Maybe he's trying to grow it back in, maybe to have the length just right, for the big day. There's a lot of things we don't know here. There's a lot of unknowns, David, I think, surrounding Luke. The important thing is that he still played pretty well.
Well, okay, yes. I got to be honest. If they were going to lose all 3 games anyway, I kind of wish he would have had just a terrible series because it plays way better. And I had this whole Samson bit, right? And I was going to play Regina Spektor's Samson. Like, Samson
I love that version.
went to
It's
my
a great
bed.
song.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Oh, phenomenal song. If you haven't watched that, you should go watch. She does a live one with an orchestra behind her. Phenomenal. Anyway, but I had this whole bit about how he's Samson and they cut his hair and he doesn't have any strength. And then, boom, of course, he hits a leadoff homer in the game 2. But, sorry, Dan, can I indulge for just a minute here?
Indulge.
About okay.
Continue.
So game 2, my nephew had a birthday party. It was at a pool. I swam with my kids. It was a super fun time. We go to my sister's place after the fact. We put the baseball game on. We're playing games. She ordered in some catering, some Mexican food. It was phenomenal. Wonderful evening, right? And the Twins are up, and I'm just having the best time. We're playing games. We're watching the Twins. We leave their house, and I have to listen to the game on the radio on the way home. So the kids are in the back. They're watching their stuff on their tablets or whatever because I don't know if you know this, Dan, but with my kids, if we drive home anywhere and it's past 6 o'clock, if they don't have a screen in front of them, they fall asleep. And then your night it's the worst. It's the worst.
Okay, I was judging you at first for the screens, but then I didn't think through the timeline. You have to keep them awake at that point. Yeah,
it's the worst if they fall. Anyway, regardless. So, Dan, but the thing is, I've had this great night. The Twins are up. I think they're going to win this game, and I'm just driving home, and I'm just the happiest guy. But then I got to listen to Chris Atterbury, and I got to listen to Glenn Perkins on this radio broadcast, and the Twins start losing. And Dan, I don't like it. I don't like that radio team at all. I don't like the way they talk. I don't like what they choose to say. I don't like that the Twins were losing. And Chris Atterbury goes on and on and on and on and on about how as long as the Twins can hold the lead through the 7th inning, the Padres basically always lose as long as they're down. And it's like, I don't care, Chris. Stop saying this because I am at this point, I am blaming you for the loss and my evening that you've just put such a damper on. I was having such a great night, and then he just ruined it, Dan, by being the announcer for the Twins radio broadcast while the Twins were losing after I've had such a wonderful night. I don't know what else to say.
There it goes. And that was Gardy's gripe.
You got pretty personal there, David, at the end.
I feel bad about it, but I don't.
From metaphor to direct shot at Chris Atterbury. He's got a family. He's got kids. He's off here, okay? Okay, You bring up that moment, though, and this isn't actually my real moment is a short one after this, but Culpepper gets the ball hit to him. There's 1 out. It's 5-4 in that spot.
Yes.
This is not the right move. The right move is to throw to first and get the out.
Absolutely, yes.
At the same time, he could have gotten Cronenworth at third there. I think Brooksley legitimately wasn't thinking that was going to be. I think his mind was in another place. I think Brooksley was thinking he's going, and he was not ready. It was the throw. If you watch the replay, there's a good angle of it. Brooks could have caught that and tagged him, and I think they could have gotten the out. But I just think Brooks was not expecting it, and I think Brooks, in a very stand-up way, kind of took the blame for it the next day in kind of talking to the media. I still think it's on Culpepper, though, because I think it's not the play that you would expect in that moment. If he's going to do that, I think he's almost got to say something to Brooks before the play and be like, hey, I think I'm going to try to I think I can get him. So can you be ready? I don't think there was that forewarning. That's why I blame Culpepper, even though Brooks got the error.
Yeah, it was a little weird because originally I think they did score it as an error for Culpepper, and then they changed it to an error for Lee, which, again, I feel like we're getting kind of in the minutia of baseball scoring a little bit with when you're assigning the error in this instance. And like you said, yeah, maybe he could have made a play on it, but just because of the way that things shook out, it didn't really happen that way. I still think in that play, because the right play is to go to first, even if you think you could get the guy at third, I think the error should still be with the guy who threw the ball to what, in effect, we would say is the wrong base.
It's a play that I would have tried to make in MLB The Show, and I wouldn't have gotten him out. Like it would have been, and then I got runners at the corners, and then, anyway.
With generic Keyshaw, number 4.
Exactly.
Gold glove winning generic white guy Luke Keyshaw playing.
Easy there. I'm not sure he's won the gold glove just yet. My real moment really is shorter, but it's Buxton's base running in Game 3. And this is normally what we think of here. And he was that in Game 1 with that beautiful catch in center. But by Game 3, grounding out into the double play that he was not trying to beat out.
No.
And then he had the hit down right field, and he's not been great at the bat. I thought for sure he could have gotten a double out of that. He didn't even try. He just tried it in the first. I know he's hurt. I know he's trying to play through it. But I don't know what you can do with him here if he's not. That's what makes Buxton is his speed and the hustle, and he can't do it. And I feel bad for him, but he's not the same player right now.
No, and it just feels like every at bat ends the same. It's either a strikeout or a ground out to third base. And like it's sort of like, sure, if they can eke one down the line, great, but most of the time the ball's going slow enough that the third baseman's getting to that ball. It's just a little disappointing. And again, it's sort of like, I don't want to pull the whole, who was it, Bob Costas, who was like, it's not Giancarlo's fault when like Bobby Witt's making this great play to his right and throwing Giancarlo Stanton out as he's trying to trot down the first baseline. But truly, like, it's not really Buxton's fault that he's trying his best and he's just not 100%. He's doing what he can here, Dan.
Yeah,
but
I would agree with you there.
All right, let's go on here to Maurer's Musings, Dan.
I just don't know how it can get any better.
Maurer's Musings.
Okay, Dan. Hear me out. Been a rough couple of series for Trevor Larnach. Okay, he has not looked good at the plate. And yeah, sure, if Trevor Larnach was doing what he did at the beginning of the season, this wouldn't even be a discussion. But the thing is, Matt Wallner continues to hit home runs at AAA. Walker Jenkins continues to hit. He's got 4 home runs in 4 games or something like that at this point, Dan. Is it time to sit? I don't think Larnach has options. I guess I don't know what you do. But you could send Alan Jackson back down, and you bring up one of these guys and let Larnach take sort of a little bit of a what are you talking? Dan, no, it's not. Come on now.
Walk ready to do it.
Okay, so here's the thing. I guess my question is twofold. One, is it time to find a way to give Larnach maybe a little bit of a breather? Maybe an IL stint, Dan, is in the future here for Trevor Larnach.
Fatigue's real.
I would trust Dan's judgment.
I don't believe that man's ever been to medical school.
Give him some drip drop and send him back out there. He'll be okay.
Hey, good sponsor shout out there,
Dan.
Well done. But so I guess, my question is it time to figure out how to give Matt Wallner a chance or Walker Jenkins? And I guess who would you call up at this moment if you're like, hey, let's give Trevor a little bit of a breather here. Let's call up, who's Dan Thompson calling up?
I think it's Wallner. I don't think they're going to call up Wally Jenkins. I hear, and I know that some people are like, oh, if they want him to play next year, no matter what. They do not want him to sit on the 40-man roster and not play at AAA. I really just don't think. There's no other reason that makes any sense to me here. I think they've told him. I think they've said, Walker, Wally, whatever we're going to call you, we're not going to call you up this year. So just hang on to that apartment in St. Paul. We love how many fans are coming to watch Saints games because of you. And I think you bring Wallner up. I think maybe you put Buxton on the injured list, or maybe you put Larnach. You find some way, but it's going to be through the injured list. Somebody's going to go on the injured list tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I think Matt Wallner, I think it could. And I think how can you possibly let Matt Wallner sit there with his Saints record 23 home runs and say, you don't get another shot when you've shown it at the major league level in the past? It's not like Matt Wallner is Carson McCusker, who has no track record. Yeah. Matt Wallner's hit 30, 40 home runs. For goodness sake, I predicted he would hit 32, I believe was the number this season for the Minnesota Twins and lead them. I think you have to. Why not? What is holding you back? And you're still down in the wild card. You're still down in the division. What a great time to bring Matt Wallner up.
So just so folks understand, too, Walker Jenkins, the whole rationale behind not bringing him up is that if they bring him up or put him on the 40-man at all, he's not eligible to play at AAA next season. Is that accurate?
If there's a lockout, obviously, right? I mean, like if the baseball doesn't happen, yes, 40-man you can't, because then you're under the collective bargaining agreement of the Major League Baseball teams.
See, I don't think it's going to happen. I guess it could happen tomorrow. It's just weird because they're still out west, so they're going to play the
Oh, yeah. But this is the new Pohlads, right, Dave? I mean, this is the Pohlads that might pony up a flight to SFO or Oakland, right?
As much as I dislike the Pohlads management style here, Dan, I really don't think it's a flight. The money cost of sending a player.
North Dakota.
Positive, David.
But I do. I mean, the thing is, though, and this series arguably is less important against the Athletics. I know I sort of said the opposite of that earlier when we were talking, Dan. But I think that yes, the Athletics, they need to take 2 of 3. But here's the trick: then you come home and you start that AL Central run. Mm-hmm. So it's sort of like, I guess you're right. Maybe you bring the guy early, and they do have an off day on Thursday. I think you're right. I think a move is coming. I don't know if they're going to do it in time for tomorrow's game, but I think you're right. Before the White Sox come to town on the 28th, I think almost certainly they're going to find themselves with a new guy, hopefully, who's making not his MLB debut. Well, I guess maybe making his MLB debut, but I think you've made the case too strong Yeah,
I wouldn't
made
mind
the
it
case
if Wally
too strong
Jenkins
for
got
why
called
it
out.
would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would interpret what you said as that way. It's just sort of, you almost wish they just come and say that, right? So fans can stop the clamoring, but they never would. But okay, we
have one.
We didn't get to yours.
I have a
again.
short
Sorry,
one.
My apologies. We talked a lot here. My apologies.
We talked about our best friend,
Why are you so obsessed with me?
our former best friend, Josh Donaldson, who was slamming Twins fans for being apathetic. Well, then I look at these attendance numbers, David. The Twins averaged 21,000 fans at home games, 26th in the majors. The only teams with worse are the Royals, the Rays, the Marlins, and the A's. Yeah, is he totally wrong? Or is there not a grain of truth that Twins fans don't love their baseball?
Okay, there's layers to this, and it's very hard for me to agree with Josh Donaldson in any way, shape, or form. The people who are Twins fans are loyal Twins fans, and they definitely care. But to pretend as though like the Twins are anywhere near as popular or ride or die as the Vikes are, or even the Timberwolves, and even when the Timberwolves were bad, Dan, you could find some Timberwolves fans who are like, "This is going to be our year that we're going to make the postseason." It's like, but I just think that there is some apathy among the fan base. However, so much of that apathy was done due to the way ownership made fans just absolutely furious towards them and the way the team is managed. And again, I hate bringing this up again, but you watch that postseason series with the Blue Jays, and you're the Pollets, and you think now's the time to pull it back. Let's just slow our roll here a little bit. It's one of those things where I think the Twin Cities could definitely be a baseball town if the Polleds had pushed their chips in at that time. I think everybody would be talking about the Twins all the time here the last couple of seasons. So it's really frustrating. And to be fair, when Donaldson played here, it was during the COVID year and the year or two after, right?
True.
It's not like he was here.
Yeah.
Well, I guess no, because he started in 2019, I think, right? And then he got injured game one on a double in Milwaukee or something like that. I don't remember when he started, but I just remember he got injured almost immediately. And I was like, oh, great.
Yeah, he came to the Twins in 2020, actually. And then, left in 23, I believe. So,
really?
Or 22.
Okay.
He was 22. He was only here for
22. Yeah, he wasn't here in 23.
So,
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. What does he know? All right, let's move on here, David.
Nothing.
Let's grade the series. I'm done with Josh.
Speaking of things that people know and don't know, Dan.
Series grades.
I almost don't want to go first because I want you to give your rationale for your grade, Dan. I'm giving them an F. I expected so little out of them. I expected them to get swept. I understand the Padres are a very good baseball team, but my goodness, you had a chance to win Game 2. It's just these scores, none of these scores make it look like the Twins were really in it all that close. But even in Game 1, had you had a little bit more offensive production, this could have been an interesting game. I'm giving them an F. You had to win one. At least show yourselves as competitive. And I think, obviously, this is all within the vision of coming off sweeping the Braves, which was totally unexpected. So if you sweep the Braves, you're now going against a really good team in the Padres. You should be able to at least win one, Dan. I hate it. They get an F.
I feel like you're giving my rationale for me. They actually played okay in games 1 and 2, which factors in here. Fielding an 8 out of 10. I thought they fielded okay. I don't like Culpepper's play there with the throw. It's a judgment call. Buxton's catch in game 1 was fantastic. Larnick had a couple nice catches on left. Base control. The Padres maybe aren't really much of a base stealing team, but they did get that guy out. There was a pickoff play too. 9 out of 10. Hitting, though, a 6 out of 10 for the nothing in Game 3, but they scored enough runs, I think, generally in Game 2. Just didn't get the guys on base for the home runs. That was a bummer. Starters a 7 out of 10 because I think I don't blame Prelips so much. I mean, I should a little bit because he did give up the runs technically, but I mean I put that a little bit on Derek for leaving him out there. And then a bullpen 6 out of 10 because I thought they did have a bad spot in Game 2. I could lower the bullpen score now that I think about it a little bit more, but I'm not. It's a 32 out of 50, or sorry, a 36 out of 50, which comes up to a C-. That's what I'm giving them.
I wish that you would have given the bullpen more blame because that would have dropped your grade at least to a D. I feel like you can give a D, Dan, if it's they lost all 3, but they played pretty well and maybe they deserved 1. But you can't give them a C-, Dan. That that is overwrought, Dan. And let me tell you, if you're finding your medical bills to be over the top as well, just like Dan Thompson's grading, Tria Orthopedics is part of Health Partners. It's a nonprofit health organization with a mission of improving health and well-being in partnership with its members, patients, and community. A leader in orthopedic sports medicine and physical therapy, Tria brings together exceptional clinical and surgical expertise with world-class research and innovative programs, including the Twin Cities' first orthopedic urgent care walk-in clinic and Tria Game Face, a premier sports performance offering. Tria's sports medicine specialists have served as official team physicians for Minnesota's professional sports teams for more than 30 years. With multiple locations across the Twin Cities and western Wisconsin, Tria provides convenient access to comprehensive care for patients of all ages and activity levels. For more information, visit tria.com.
I don't know, Jack. It looked like Herbeck pulled him off the bag.
Herbie's headlines.
Well, we don't have a ton here. Jacob deGrom throws his 2,000th strikeout of his career in the Rangers Nationals games. That's a pretty big deal. The Phillies won their 9th straight. That includes the Twins sweep, I believe, there. They did it by coming from behind. They were down 9-0 going into the bottom 9th. Kyle Schwarber won it with a walk-off home run when it was tied 4-4, so it wasn't as dramatic, say, as a Cody Clemens home run there. And I guess this is maybe a good time to go through the wild card standings. So the Twins have fallen back out of the wild card there. The Guardians have that 3rd spot. The Rangers are tied with them with 65 and 66 records. The Blue Jays 64 and 68. And then there's the Twins 63 and 68, just 2 games back.
Yeah, I do wonder, Dan, at this point in time as a Twins fan, going into this Athletics series, and then you're going into the White Sox series, the White Sox are playing the Rangers. Is it not decision time? Do you think the Twins have a legitimate shot to win the division? Because if you do, you're going to be cheering really hard for the Rangers. If you think it's going to come down to the wild card, you want the White Sox to win to take the Rangers out of contention for the wild card. I feel like the series result between the Twins against the Athletics, the White Sox against the Rangers is going to determine how Twins fans are going to root the rest of the season, Dan. It's crazy.
I'm an all or nothing guy. So, as we talked about at the beginning, I want the division. So let's root for the Rangers here and root for the Twins to sweep the A's, and we'll simplify things.
All right, well, let's do it then here. Let's make our picks for the upcoming Athletics series.
And we'll see you tomorrow night. Puckett's Picks.
Which, first of all, Dan, isn't the A's, like you mentioned, that they are in the bottom as far as attendance is concerned? Aren't they in a stadium that only has like 8,000 seats? Isn't that part of it?
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty significant part of it, too. So they're a little bit of an asterisk next to their attendance figures.
Okay, well, so for the Athletic series here, the listeners are going to take Keyshaw, and then it goes to you, Dan. Yes.
Yep, I'm going to go for Mr. California himself. I'm going to go with Brooks Lee.
My back!
Hoges is going to take Culpepper. Interesting choice. I got to be honest. I did not see that one coming. And now I'm stuck here because I don't think I can take Buxton because he's not 100%. Jeffers hasn't quite looked great. Bell had been so good, and then he had such a rough series last time. Cody won it for me, and he seems to be a consistent performer, Dan. I got to go with Cody Clemens.
Yeah, you were overcomplicating that. It was either him or Keyshaw. I thought for sure
I overcomplicated things. Okay. Well, Dan, we'll be back here on, oh my goodness, we got to record at like 1 a.m. here come Wednesday, folks. They're all night games against your Athletics. Late starts here, folks, so you can watch after the kids go to bed. So that's good news, at least, Dan.
Well, I think I will go ahead and send us out here, David. Folks,
please do.
If you like what you hear, please tell a friend. You can follow us on X at Min for the Win. You can find our Min for the Win Facebook and Instagram pages. Go ahead and keep liking all those videos we're posting there. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast on your favorite platform so you're notified when new episodes are available. And if you leave us a rating or like, we'd greatly appreciate it. If you'd like to support the show further, you can find us on Patreon. The link is in the description. Thank you for listening. And as always, go Twins.
That'll wrap up another episode of Men for the Win, a podcast hosted by David Kufis and Dan Thompson, with special guest appearances from Andrew Hoges Hoganson, 3 avid fans who appreciate well-played baseball, especially when it's done by the Minnesota Twins. Thanks so much for listening, and as always, go Twins!